Hey guys, I'm Jackie. This is my 10-minute flexibility flow. I put together some of my favorite stretches and mobility exercises because I fully recognize we don't all have a 1 hour period of time a day where we can do a nice long yoga flow. I also know that when people get busy, stretching after a workout is usually one of the first things on the chopping block. And that unfortunately can lead to tight muscles, imbalances that can lead to injuries down the road. So we can all find a 10-minute window a day, and I promise you, stretching and mobility does get better the more often you do it. If it feels really uncomfortable at first, don't push to the point of pain, just push to what your body can handle. Commit to doing this every single day, and I promise you it will get better and you will feel like you can move more fluidly throughout the day. So we only have 10 minutes, and I am going to make this into more of a flow. So we're going to move through these stretches as opposed to just holding them statically. A static stretch, you really need a little more time to fully sink into each position. So if you enjoy some of these stretches and you want to actually sit and really hold them and you have more time, go for it. Pause the video, hang out in these for about 60 seconds. I'm gonna set this up in a way where we are getting blood flowing through your muscles and we're actually moving through these stretches. So with that being said, we're gonna start wide in kind of a wide-legged stance here, and we're just gonna start slowly shifting our hips side to side. So as we lean those hips side to side, we're stretching out the opposite inner thigh groin area. My knee is not jutting out over the toe. I'm actually keeping my weight back in my heel and sticking my butt behind me. If balance is an issue, hang on to a chair while you do these, no problem at all. Good, and now we're gonna do it one pause, leaning to the right, hang out, feel this stretch here, and over to the left, pause. We're gonna come back to the middle and reach those hands either down to the ground, onto a yoga block, or you can grab your ankles or outer calf area and give yourself a gentle pull down. Just a couple deep breaths here, feeling the stretch behind the legs, maybe a little bit in the inner thighs. And then you're gonna take your left hand, again, setting it on a block, a book, something. If you can't reach the ground, take your right hand up toward the ceiling. A little bit of a spinal twist as you do this. Your core should be tight. You're not trying to force anything. We're gonna go to the other side. Right hand down, left arm up. One more time each way. Left hand down, right arm up. And right hand down, left arm up. Good, and then we're actually going to make our way down to the knees. You're gonna keep them nice and wide. And we're gonna stretch out into the groin a little more, inner thigh. This is a great hip opener. Come down to those forearms. Gently rock those hips forward and back. All right, we're gonna turn on our mats into a tabletop position, which means your knees are under your hips and your shoulders are over your wrists. We're gonna pause for a wrist stretch. So you're gonna turn your fingertips to face your thighs. Be gentle with yourself. It should be a nice stretchy sensation. If it's not, if it's really intense, you can actually elevate your wrists a little bit. You could maybe even do one at a time, working on that mobility while your opposite hand kind of supports you. But ease into it. I promise this does get better. If you're someone who types a lot, sometimes these wrists can get really, really tight. All right, and then we're gonna come on up. We're gonna get into the hip flexor a little bit. So big step forward with your right foot. Keep your core tight so your back is not arching, but you're slowly gonna shift your weight forward, feeling a stretch in that left hip flexor. This may be intense enough for you. If you are feeling pretty good here, you can make it a little more intense by grabbing your back heel. Again, be careful with your body. Don't force anything. You can also hang on to a chair or a wall with your free hand. This just opens up your hip a little more by getting into the quadricep down here. One more deep breath. All right, we're slowly coming out of this one. If your right foot's in front, then your right foot is actually going to walk across, and we're going to go into a pigeon stretch. So that right foot's going across the mat, and you're going to rotate yourself so your hips are fairly square, and you're going to come on down to your forearms. Now, if pigeon feels exceptionally tight, or let's say you're feeling a lot of knee pressure out here in your right knee, you can do something called adapted pigeon, where you basically have both knees bent, your feet are facing the same direction behind you, and then you're still trying to square your hips up forward, and you're just walking down to your forearms this way. So that's a little bit gentler if regular pigeon feels hard for you. You want to listen to your body and give yourself the stretch that you need, not something that's going to hurt worse. So we can come out of that, and we have the same thing on your left side. So come on back to tabletop. Give yourself another wrist stretch. We'll just pause here for a couple deep breaths. If you're feeling pretty good, you can rock a little bit back and forth. And then we'll come up, stick that left foot forward, keep your abdominals tight, and push those hips forward. You can bring arms overhead for a little bit of a deeper stretch in that back hip flexor. If you want to grab your right heel, you can do that as well, but don't force it. And gently come out of that one. You're going to walk your left foot across the body. And I'm going to actually keep my right knee bent on this one and do adapted pigeon. If you're ready for the full thing, you're going to rotate all the way across, but my left ankle is still injured, so I'm going to be a little easier on myself on this side. Walk your hands forward, getting those hips as square as you can. And then we're going to come out of that one. We're going to bring ourselves back to tabletop. And then push your hips all the way back towards your heels into child's pose. First, stretching in the middle, trying to get your armpits as close as you can to the mat. That'll stretch out your lats. Then I'm going to have you walk your left hand to the left side of the mat, right hand on top of the left hand, and then you're trying to roll your right shoulder to the ground. This is a really great stretch for your shoulder and your lat on your right side. Same thing on the other side. Walk that right hand across, left hand on top, roll that left shoulder down. Back to the middle one more time. And then we're going to make our way to our backs. If you have a stretching strap you want to use or a towel, you can absolutely do that. We're going to get into the hamstring a little bit. So you're going to take your right leg, stick your foot up toward the ceiling. I'm going to hug right behind my right thigh. And then I'm just going to pull it back as far as I can until I feel a stretch in my right hamstring here. If you're very flexible, you might want to take your right peace fingers, those, pointer and middle finger, grab your right big toe and hold it up that way. We're going to start to move in this one a little bit. We're going to do a knee pump. So you're going to pull your right knee toward your chest and then press your right heel up toward the ceiling. So we're just moving it a little bit, get those muscles fired up. Inhale, knee down. Exhale, heel up toward the ceiling. Inhale down. Exhale, press and pause. Start to point your right toe toward the ceiling and then flex your right toe. Gets into more the calf and Achilles tendon area, which also gets very tight in a lot of people. And then we're going to take the left hand, grab the outside of the right thigh. The right hand goes out to a T. Pull that left leg across the body. If this feels really tight, you're slightly going to bend your right knee. Look over at your right fingertips. And back to the center. Give your right knee a nice little hug toward your chest. It's a nice, gentle, low back stretch. And then stick your right foot straight out on the mat. Lift that left leg up. Hug behind the thigh. You can use your stretch strap to hold your foot. You can grab your big toe, however you best feel this stretch. And then we're going to get into some knee pumps. We'll pull that left knee in toward the chest. Stick the heel up toward the ceiling. Inhale in. Exhale, press. Inhale in. And exhale, press and hold. Point your toe. Flex your toe. Keep moving. Point and flex. One more time. Point and flex. Left arm out to a T, right hand grabs the outer left leg and gently pull it across the body. Looking over at those left fingertips, if that feels okay on your neck. And we're going to come back to the center, hugging your left knee in towards your chest. Go ahead, pick up that right knee as well. Bring your knees out wide. We're gonna do a happy baby. This might be enough of a stretch for you in your hips. Hold it if it is. All right, if you wanna get into happy baby, your tailbone should be flat on the mat. You shouldn't be pulling up this way. You're gonna go on the inside of your knees with both hands, but you're gonna grab the outside of your foot. Again, try to get your spine nice and flat to the mat. You might not be totally there. That's okay, as long as it's not causing any pain. If your back is lifted a little bit, that's okay. But the goal is to work on bringing your spine down. You're gonna slowly open up your knees, get into those hips a little bit, and just take some deep breaths here. One more inhale. On your exhale, you're going to extend your legs out straight, your arms overhead. Give me one more deep breath in and exhale. So that wasn't so bad. 10 minutes. Like I said before, go ahead and go back through those if you have a little extra time. You can hold any that felt pretty tight for 30 to 60 seconds now that you're nice and warm. Otherwise, stick with it. A little bit every day goes a long ways.